All right, it's that time of the week again where I'm going to be answering your questions that you've been compiling on different videos throughout the course of the week. If you're new to my channel, here's what I do. I go through last week's videos and I take a look at all the comments, and what myself and my team do is we filter through the comments to see which ones are really interesting and thought-provoking, which ones would be good to answer in a public video. So that's where we are right now. I've got your questions right here on my laptop, and I'm going to go through them and answer them and give you a quick breakdown of the video at that. You're tuned into the internet's leading performance, nutrition, and fat loss channel. There's new videos every single Tuesday, Friday, and Sunday at 7 a.m. Pacific time, so make sure you're keeping it locked in here. But let's go ahead and let's dive right into the fun stuff. So the first video I want to reference is the video that was called, "Is Vitamin C for the Immune System a Total Lie?" I wanted to use a little bit of a provocative title because I wanted people to think like, oh, wait a minute, have I been lied to this whole time? Is vitamin C really bad? Vitamin C is good for the immune system. That's the short answer with that video. I recommend you go through and watch it because it's really interesting. And it's a lot more deep than what people think as far as vitamin C. It does a lot of interesting things. You really should go watch it. So the first question comes from John Tirone. He says, "Important video again, thanks. Can you take a vitamin C tablet while you're intermittent fasting, or do you take it after you break the fast?" Take it after you break the fast. Vitamin C while you are fasting will actually nullify a lot of the positive effects of the fast. Antioxidants during a fast kill the stress response that is good for the fast in the first place. I have a whole video on this coming out. Diana O says, "So wait, does it matter how we take it? Should we be incorporating foods with natural vitamin C? More so for us newbies to keto. I know you mentioned in some of your videos that the fat adapted for a long time can eat other foods and stay in ketosis. But what about us that are just starting this journey? Should I take the supplement version?" Supplemental vitamin C is great. Totally. Go for it. You don't have to be getting it from the diet, but your veggies are going to have plenty of vitamin C too, so you should be just fine. John Smith says, "Every time you say vitamin C, what are you talking about? Ascorbic acid or the whole vitamin C?" Ascorbic acid is an isolated nutrient that is part of vitamin C, but not the whole vitamin C. Very good point. Use like acerola cherry or acerola fruit. Anything like that is going to be really powerful when it comes down to whole food vitamin C. All right, the next video is why my bad phone habits make me eat more. This was all about dopamine response and how we're getting so addicted to our phones, we're constantly searching for a dopamine hit. So what's happening when we're constantly looking at our phones and searching for that reward and that factor that we get from our phones, we're creating a habit loop in our brains that's making us want to eat too. We want to satisfy that dopamine itch all the time. We're just becoming impulsive people. So I don't know, it's interesting, a different psychological twist. Mateo Groot says, "What do you think of the food combination diet? It's separating protein and starches and vegetables. Is it better for digestion?" I don't think there's a lot of evidence to back that up. I think our bodies have enough enzymes in it that they can break them all down at the same time. I think you actually might do yourself a disservice because I'm sure there's different enzymes in our body that work on both. Fua Ann Lee says, "Could this be helpful for someone who have trouble bulking, can't consume enough food, no appetite, etc.?" That's an interesting way of looking at it, like developing a habit to eat more by being on your phone more. I have to laugh. I mean, that's a really just interesting way of looking at it. I didn't think about that. It probably won't work in that case. I mean, you might want to eat more, but you're going to constantly be seeking like dopamine itches from things that are usually not the best things for you. But you could be right. I don't know. The next video was 3 at-home smoothie recipes to fight inflammation, only one of which was keto-friendly. I wanted to do this because I needed a video that went out and talked to other people outside of the keto and fasting spectrum. I got my start on YouTube talking about inflammation, talking about my journey, talking about my wife's journey, and I didn't want to lose track of that. So I wanted to be able to hit home with some anti-inflammatory things, which actually, yes, have fructose in them. They have fruit. Oh my gosh, unsubscribe now. Thomas talked about carbs. Oh my God. Okay, but seriously, it's an interesting video that gives you some lower glycemic, lower carb versions of smoothies that you could use. So Kent Burnt says, "You avoid almond milk because of phytic acid, yet you put in spinach, which is full of oxalates." I love when people challenge me. Phytic acid and oxalates are so two completely different things. Like the phytic acid is all about digestion. Like phytates, that's about digestion, and it's an anti-nutrient so you don't absorb it. Oxalates are things that affect the overall breakdown of other minerals at like different points. So basically deamination and all these other things. So high oxalate foods like spinach aren't always bad. In fact, to a degree, a little bit of oxalate is actually a good thing because it's allowing your body to overcome that. You don't want to be loading up on it and you don't want to have spinach constantly. But basically, the worst that it can do is cause a little bit of stress in terms of basically the urea excretion, causing the kidneys to work a little bit harder. But you'd have to be consuming quite a bit of it. So anyhow, apples and oranges, two completely different things. Oxalates, yeah, you should probably limit them a little bit, but we're talking a small amount of spinach here. You're having less spinach in this smoothie recipes than you would have in like a quarter of a normal bowl of salad. Lou Milano says, Thomas, do you know of any foods or smoothies that actually cause inflammation for bedtime? And if so, can you share them? Please, best regards, Lou Milano. There's a lot of foods that trigger inflammation, honestly. I would say dairy is probably one of the worst things you would have before bed. I'll just leave it at that, because there's so many foods that are inflammatory. IC says, it's really hard to find frozen beets. Would canned beets work, as it's concentrated as frozen? Yeah, it would work. Okay, just make sure that you're getting BPA-free cans, because the last thing you want is to have the beets soak up all the BPA, so you just don't want that. Frozen beets are great. You just don't want to use raw beets. You want to roast them first, because raw beets obviously would just probably break your blender. Okay, and then El Principe Diesel says, and pumpkin seeds don't contain phytic acid. So pumpkin seeds do still have phytic acid in them, but not nearly as much as almonds. Almonds are known for high phytate content. Layla Mohammed says, at my place there's no coconut cream. Can I place it with coconut oil? You could, but coconut cream is more about the creamy consistency. Coconut oil is an oil. So I can almost guarantee you'll be able to get regular coconut milk. You can't always find coconut cream, but full fat coconut milk, you put it in the fridge for a little bit, the fat will separate to the top, and you're good. This next video is coffee is critical for fasting and keto. This video was killer. A lot of people loved it. It was talking about how coffee relates with keto, how it relates with fasting, how it plays a huge role in your success. So make sure you check that out if you are doing keto or fasting and you like coffee. Marissa Van Eck says, so given it's coffee polyphenols to do this, what about tea polyphenols? Yep, tea polyphenols are amazing too. Super powerful, autophagy stimulating, not quite as powerful as the specific polyphenols in coffee, but still rock solid. Jesse Gentry says, are fat cells weaker than non-fat cells? If so, then the fat cells through the keto protocol makes sense. Well, yeah, Jesse, I don't know if they're necessarily weaker. Fat cells are actually pretty hard to get rid of compared to some of the other cells. So you have to go through a lot more hoops and barrels to get rid of fat cells than you do other cells. Lou Milano says, serious question. What about fasted cardio with coffee in a sauna on a stationary bike? Any unknown health benefits? Well, that is awesome. If you have the ability to put a stationary bike in your sauna while drinking coffee, I think that you win. I think that you just win at life, because that's awesome. Like, seriously, if you are going to go through the effort of putting a bike in a sauna and drink coffee while doing it, you're my hero. That's just super cool. So, and yeah, you probably would get some awesome benefit. Heat shock proteins from the bike, heat shock proteins from the sauna, and polyphenols inducing autophagy from the coffee. Go for it. Yelena says, is high blood glucose level dangerous after exercising while fasted? No, I mean, it depends how high it is, but of course high glucose is high glucose, but you are gonna see it moderately high after a workout. It's just normal. Okay, the next video was Keto Soup, helping a good partner out. The reason I put this video up was literally to help out Kettle and Fire, who was running a Kickstarter campaign for their new keto soups. Basically, it was like full keto macros for a whole meal in a given soup. And it was the first time I've ever done a video that was just an outright plug. Like, it was an outright just being like, hey, go help these guys out on Kickstarter. I was expecting a lot more negative backlash because it was transparent, but I think people appreciated the transparency. I have no issue with helping good partners out. Kettle and Fire is an amazing sponsor of this channel. They make these videos possible, so I have no problem just giving them a big shout out and a leg up by using my platform to promote a product that I truly do use. So, but there were a couple of questions. One in particular says, nice, so does this mean that it's an electrolyte replenisher as well with a good source of sodium, potassium, and magnesium? Yes. It is. That's what's really awesome about it. It's got everything you would need. Okay, the next video was, do fat burner supplements actually work? It was talking about the breakdown of what is in most fat burners and if they really do work for you. So if you are questioning it, go check that video out. Joran says, according to this, it might be good to consume extra carnitine when you're in keto and doing a lot of workouts, including HIIT. Yes, because you only will utilize carnitine when you're actually deficient in it and when you're using it. So if you're working out a lot and you're in keto, then yes, it'll be beneficial. GVL1 says, if you don't like coffee, does a 200 milligram caffeine tablet work? Yes, it does. Critter says, some guys at my gym have already been talking about a carnitine supplement. GW5 is a fat burner that also helps preserve the lean muscle tissue. What's your take on that? I'm not a big fan of it just yet. It's all too new. Honestly, anything like research chems, stuff like that, use a lot of caution, okay? And also things that are designed to promote heavy IGF-1, LR3 responses in the body. Those can be very dangerous if you're not careful. They can be dangerous because they can actually grow tumors if you already have an existing cancer cell. So just be careful with stuff like that. Wait for a little more research to come out. Okay, the next one was, I'm doing plant-based keto for 2 weeks. Want to join me? Holy moly, I cannot believe people actually made videos about me saying that the grain industry was paying me off and the wheat industry was paying me off. That was beyond comical, but I also get it. When you have a large voice, people are going to say that kind of stuff. So I was announcing that I'm doing a 2-week vegan keto or plant-based keto challenge because I wanted to see if I could do it, and I also wanted to prove that it can be done. But of course, there's some questions that come up. So here's some answers. Ketolicious Life says, wouldn't you need to go at least 30 days to really see what it does? I'd imagine you could say that with any number. I figure at 2 weeks, I'll have a good idea. Here I am at the time of recording this, I'm 5 days in, and I can get some pretty solid, conclusive results. I can tell you exactly how I feel. I can tell you exactly what I think is going on in my body. I can tell you where I have inflammation, where I don't, and I could do some blood work after 2 weeks to get a good result. But yeah, 30 days would probably be a little bit more accurate. 60 days would probably be even more accurate. 90 days even more accurate. So it all depends on how far you want to go, right? Nubs says, guess that means no bone broth and thus no collagen. What are you taking for B12 and what about EPA and DHA? EPA I'm not worried about. B12, you guys know, I've talked about in other videos, I am one of the owners of PureThrive, so we have a patent on a couple of different delivery mechanisms. So one of our products is a liposomal micellar receptor cell mediated endocytosis driven B12. So I'm using that. And then as far as DHA, docosahexaenoic acid, I'm using my curcumin gold. So again, company I own, curcumin gold, which is a combination of docosahexaenoic acid derived from algae, and then curcumin and ginger oil, all put in that micellar liposomal RCME-driven patented form. So that's how I'm using that. Wilma's Warzone says, hey Thomas, I have a question. I'm going to try this vegan thing. And there's a vegan mayonnaise from an online store here in China that I want to try. It's egg-free and soy-free, which makes it vegan, but the ingredients are, however, aquafaba, sunflower oil, and some spices. Does this get approved as a keto mayo? I'd have to look at the macros, but I don't see why not. I mean, honestly, the sunflower oil should be good. Aquafaba should be good. Honestly, I'm just using a lot of Kite Hill products. Kite Hill's got a bunch of good stuff. All right, well, that locks it down for today. So thank you all very much for making sure that you're always commenting. I love to drive as much engagement on my videos as possible, so never hesitate to post a question. Do our best to reply. My team goes through the videos and replies via text, but we also try to get them into a video if they're a good question. So as always, keep it locked in here, and I'll see you in the next video.